Norma just recently retired too. So,
yay!
It's a good day for all of us.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got just a couple of remarks I was going to make. I actually had a lot of remarks, but in light of the way everything is, I'm just going to be brief as I can. I want to start talking about, a lot of y'all are familiar with Lou Gehrig and the name Lou Gehrig. And Lou Gehrig was a baseball player back in the 20s, and he was known as the Iron Man because he had played in the largest number of consecutive games without any injury. But after about 17, 18 years, he began to weaken, and he took himself out of the game because he just didn't up on the game. So he took himself out. Well, he went and he was diagnosed, and he had Lou Gehrig's disease, which was Alls, and I can't pronounce Alls, but it's known as Lou Gehrig. And he gave a speech. They had a special thing on July the 4th at Yankee Stadium, and he gave a going away farewell speech. And it's very emotional. They've made a movie about it. If you've ever seen it, it'll tug at your heart. But part of what Lou Gehrig said, and this was very meaningful to me in my life, was he said, to everybody knowing he had this terminal illness, stood before that group and said, "Today I stand before you, the luckiest man on the face of the earth." And then he went on, the thing we don't remember is, he went on to explain why he felt that way, because of his family, because of the respect he had in baseball, the people he had played with along the way with him. Well, I used that expression 2 times in my life. I used it the first time at my bachelor party, and I told the guys there that tonight I consider myself the luckiest man in the face of this earth, because I was marrying Rayanne, wherever she is. Okay.
Yay! All right. Okay.
And I want to say,
In the background as usual.
and I want to say the same thing today, that I consider myself the luckiest man. And it's not trying to be humble or humility. I really do. I've been fortunate in my career. I've had good health. I have had good fortune in life. I've worked on some great projects. I've worked on the Apollo project, put the man on the moon. I've worked on advanced satellite design or submarine design projects, which impressed my father-in-law, who said you went from the heights of the orbit to the bottom of the sea. But they were good projects, and I've worked on with industrial plants. The last one I'm working at now, unbeknownst to all of y'all have used the products, they made plastic film, polyester film. 80%, you remember the little floppy disk, 3.5 inch? 80% of the floppy disks that were ever used were made at this plant, the plastic that was there. And the other big user was the Polaroid camera, the film packs you used to have. Well, if you remember about the middle of the 90s, the CDs took the place of the little plastic disc, and the digital camera, which everybody has, took the place of the Polaroid film pack. And it was hard times, but fortunately, they made a real high quality film. And you may think your monitors on your computers are glass, but they're not. They're really a plastic film that they impregnate with these chemicals that give it the quality so that when you look at it, you don't have to look unidirectional, to see it. No matter what direction you look at, you see it. But the other thing that came along was flat screen TVs. So it was enough to string it along for me to get paychecks until I finally retired. So much for the career. The thing I really am happy about today is this family reunion. Because to me, family is everything. Family was what my parents and what they gave in their lives to feed me and to bring me along in life and teach me lessons of life. My mom said she tried to teach us 2 things: to know the difference between right and wrong, and to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. And I think she got it in my case. I've been able to stand on my own 2 feet, and I do know the difference between right and wrong. So, but you think of that, and then you come up with your brothers and sisters who along life's way nurture you. My sister Peggy convinced me that I was the most handsome guy in high school. All the girls believed it. Couldn't understand why I couldn't get dates with him, but I believed it. And then Norma, who, before that, as I was in school, Norma was the first one to take me down to the Richmond Public Library and give me a library card. And that was the first thing that I owned with my personalized name on it. And then you end up with Clyde. When I went in business for myself, Clyde and Ed hired me to do things for them, and they didn't know what I did, and they really weren't concerned about what I did. They knew that I was just starting a business and I needed some help, and they provided that help. And Jim was the spearhead on education-wise. He was the first one in our family to graduate from college, and he encouraged me to pursue college, and so he's responsible for getting me into engineering, I think. I didn't go into electrical engineering because Granny, our mom, would always, when Jim would come home, he had to fix any of the appliances that weren't working. Jim didn't know anything, but he was majoring in electrical engineering. So one day he came fix this mixer, and he tells Granny, I just came to fix it. And she said, well, Jim, what kind of electrical engineering are you studying? But after that finished, then I've got relatives, and I treasured all the cousins and the times we would get together and play, and we're accepted. You were just accepted for being who you were, and not because of anything other than you were a cousin, or you were a nephew, or you were a niece, and you immediately knew that that family was embracing you with love and you could depend on them. And then my nephews and my nieces, all of y'all have listened to my corny jokes, and when I built my house, Charlie helped me build my house for the family that we live in now, and all the warmth that the Sis family gave me, all of these things. You understand why I consider myself one of the luckiest men on the face of this earth. And I'll leave you with this one thought. I was going to read you two poems. The poem, you have to go look them up yourself. If by Rudyard Kipling, which is a great poem about who you are and what you are and believing in yourself. And the other one is The Village Blacksmith by Henry Wordsworth Longfellow. And then the line that I remember so much from that is towards the end, the village blacksmith worked day in, day out. He raised his family. His wife had passed away, but his daughter sung in the church choir. I mean, all these things really tear at your emotions. But one of the last verses is, toiling, rejoicing, sorrowing, onward through life he goes. Each morning sees a task begun, each evening sees it close. Thanks to thee, my worthy friend, for the lesson thou hast taught. And I think I left that line, but don't worry. And the very last thing I was going to leave you with, I'll pass along a little bit of my faith. And there was a chapter Michelle and I were talking about a particular person that had written, and it was non-denominational, non-religious, but we just talked about love. And family is, to me, what love and all about love. But he pointed out three things regarding love. And he said, the highest use of our life is love. And the best expression of our love is our time. And the best time is now. So now being the best time, and y'all gave me the greatest gift you could give me, which is your time in coming and travel. Pam traveled 1,500 miles. The people from Maryland traveling. Everybody that came down to be a part of this today. I thank you very much, and I love you all.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Thank you.
Hold that. Steve, I got something for you.
All right, wait a minute.
Hey, wait, I just want to warn you, Steve. Watch out.
Keep the camera rolling.
I'm trying to get a feeling.
Keep the camera rolling, Joe.
Oh, it's on. It's on.
Oh, he's got an envelope too.
I got an envelope.
I need to get up here.
All right.
Well, as you all know, Steve graduated with mechanical engineering. And he was quite proud of this mechanical ability he had. So he wanted to impress us with it and show us, so he took these 1-inch square piece of wood and built a equal-sided triangle. And I remember this triangle very well. And so I painted a painting of it for you, Steve, so you can keep and remember it too.
Okay. Thank you very much. This is the path of life. You go round and round and you never do reach the end of it. Then one day you run out of time. But I can tell you, Jimmy can, and all of y'all can attest to it, because all of y'all, life is, and it's not always good, there's a lot of hardships, but there's also, if you keep in there and hang with it, you got family and people to be there with you, and you do somehow make it through. So, I will frame this, and I'll have to put it somewhere.
Very good.
All right, here, here.
Jimmy is quite the artist, and after my heart, he wasn't intended, but he did a painting of a nuclear power, well, it wasn't nuclear, it was a steam power plant, and coming out of the smokestacks is a statement about ecology, because some of the bubbles are actually the earth that are coming out. And I thought, pretty clever for an electrical engineer.
We all turned all the time.
That's a great painting. If you ever want to see it, come up to Michelle's house. It's hanging on the wall.
All right, Papa, you're going to cut the first slice. All right, we're going to have some cake.
Did you say cut the cheese or cut the cake?
No. You want to get Mom up here?
Yeah, come on. She's been hiding back there.